Joining me now on the phone is Will Brinson. He's a senior NFL writer for CBSSports.com. Will, I thought it was really interesting that as Peyton Manning was delivering those remarks, he talked about Tom Brady, and he mentioned Tom Brady whilst getting emotional about that. This is an interesting relationship. I sort of look at the Brady-Manning relationship as I did when I was a kid with Terry Bradshaw and Roger Staubach, because Manning has not done so well against Tom Brady, and yet here he was thanking him.
Yeah, well, actually, it's surprising. Manning has done okay against the Patriots. It's just that the Patriots have happened to have more, sustained success. I think, you harken back and you can look at the Brady comments, what Tom Brady said. He said when asked how it will feel to compete for his first time ever when Peyton Manning's not involved, he said, that sucks. I mean, that was his actual quote. He's disappointed in it. And he also said that he's watched every single play that Peyton Manning has ever been a part of. He's watched every single one of his games. And I think that this is one of those relationships that kind of transcends a rivalry because it's gone on so long. And it basically boils down to, two guys with a deep level of mutual respect for one another, and two guys who understand, especially when you get older, you start to get a little sentimental about things. And I think both of these guys see each other and see where they sit in terms of historical placement as great quarterbacks. To me, both top 5 guys, certainly both top 10 guys. And I think it's become one of those things where there's just such a deep level of respect between the two guys that it's not one of those things where there's any animosity.
Yeah, I looked up their numbers. Manning lost his first 6 matchups against Belichick and Tom Brady, but he won the last 3 matchups and in the AFC Championship game, including 2 wins in the last 3 years. So even if Peyton Manning had just decided to retire after his career with the Colts, many people think he would have been a first balloter on the Hall of Fame balloting. But these last 4 years with the Broncos have really cemented that.
Oh no, he was a lock job to be a first ballot Hall of Famer after those Colts seasons. But certainly, you see the way that he comes back with Denver, and then sets records. We look at what happened in Super Bowl 50 and say, well, Peyton Manning was kind of broken down. I mean, 2 things stand out to me on that. One, just 2 years ago, he was shattering records in the NFL, and he looked like he might continue on for a few years. It tells you just how quickly you can fall off once you get around that age 40. And then the second thing is that he won a trophy. He won a Lombardi Trophy basically on the heels of a great defensive effort and not playing particularly well. But 10 years removed from that, we're not going to think about it. We're just going to look at Tom Brady and say, hey, this is a guy with look at Peyton Manning and say, this is a guy with 2 Super Bowl trophies, 2 Super Bowl rings. We're not going to really look at the specifics of how he played in them, I don't think. And absolutely, when it comes to the, there's a kind of a line, a cue for Canton. When it comes to that line and that cue, Peyton Manning walks immediately to the front of the line and strolls in as a first ballot Hall of Famer the second he's eligible.
Yeah, so, Will, I want to ask you about this investigation that the NFL is conducting into allegations of using HGH. So in 2013, 2 years after he missed an entire season because he had what some people consider was a career-threatening injury to his neck that required multiple surgeries, he comes back and puts together one of the greatest quarterback seasons ever. So given that he's retiring right now, clearly there are some people that are scratching their heads over that amazing performance. But if he's retiring, where does that leave the NFL investigation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of the problem is, and baseball has kind of soured us on this for the most part, I think, because we saw, record numbers being put up, and it's just become difficult to accept at face value that any athlete can do something superhuman these days. But yeah, as far as the NFL investigation goes, it's going to be really difficult for them to do anything because he's retired. He's walking away from football. There's not a whole lot they can do. You certainly can't suspend or fine a retired player. And so I think at this point, really, the ship has probably sailed in terms of the NFL doing it. I mean, I wouldn't, look, I think the NFL will do the due diligence needed to complete the investigation, but I don't think they're going to spend a ton of money or a ton of resources trying to prove that one of the all-time great quarterbacks who is no longer playing in the game did something that might not, we don't even know whether it's we don't know the circumstances. We don't know what happened. I would anticipate that this investigation ends with the NFL saying nothing is wrong and this player is retired, so we're not going to really pursue it beyond the normal course of action.
All right, Will Brinson, thank you so much. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, take it easy, guys.